This forest is not a forest. It is one male tree, wearing roughly 47,000 trunks, spread across 106 acres of Utah. From the road, you see a golden stand of quaking aspens. Genetically, researchers found something far stranger. The trunks belong to one enormous individual. Its name is Pando, Latin for "I spread," and it may be the largest organism on Earth by mass. Pando is a clonal colony of quaking aspen, Populus tremuloides, in Utah's Fish Lake National Forest. The Forest Service describes it as an aspen stand covering approximately 106 acres, or about 43 hectares. DNA testing indicates that the stems are one genetic entity. That word, entity, matters. Pando is not one giant trunk. It is not a tree in the usual picture book sense. It is one genet, one genetic individual produced from a single origin and expanded through vegetative reproduction. The visible trunks are ramets, repeated stems that emerge, live, age, and die, while the clonal individual continues underground. So the jaw-dropping fact is not merely that Pando is big, it is that our everyday definition of one tree is based on what we can see, while the biology is happening below the surface. The molecular evidence came from DeWoody and colleagues, published in the Western North American Naturalist in 2008. The researchers sampled 209 stems across the area, mapped as Pando, and tested them at 7 microsatellite markers. The result: the sampled stems matched as one genetic entity across an area of approximately 43.6 hectares. That is not a guess based on similar-looking leaves. It is a genetic test across hundreds of stems. The Forest Service currently describes the clone as approximately 106 acres and says it is thought to be the largest organism in the world. Thought to be is the scientifically responsible wording. Claims about the largest organism depend on how you define largest, by area, mass, volume, or genetic individual. Pando is a strong contender because it combines enormous area with an estimated mass of millions of pounds. And the stems are not immortal. Individual aspen trunks can die. The clone persists by sending up new shoots from its root system, replacing old visible stems with new ones. That gives Pando a strange kind of continuity. The tree you can touch today may be young. The genetic individual may be far older. To understand how one tree can become a forest, imagine an underground network with the ability to make copies of its above-ground form. Aspen roots can produce suckers or new shoots. Each shoot rises as a separate trunk with its own branches and leaves, but it remains part of the same clonal system. The shoots photosynthesize above ground. The root system connects the history of the individual below it. In a normal forest, 2 neighboring trunks might be 2 separate organisms competing for light. In a clone, 2 trunks can be separate visible units, but genetic copies of the same original. The surface is plural, the genome is singular. Scientists use 2 terms to keep this straight. A genet is the genetic individual, the whole clone. A ramet is a potentially independent-looking unit within that clone, such as one aspen stem. Pando is one genet made of many ramets. This is not a biological loophole unique to Pando. Clonal growth is common in plants. Grass spreads through rhizomes. Strawberries send out runners. Some fungi connect huge underground networks. The unusual thing about Pando is the combination of scale, age, and genetic conformation. But age is where the story needs restraint. Pando is often assigned an age of 80,000 years, but that is not a directly measured birthday. Counting the rings of the oldest visible trunk only dates that trunk, not the original seed that founded the clone. A clone can replace its stems repeatedly, so the organism's age is inferred from ecological history, growth rates, and genetic modeling rather than read from one tree ring. The safe conclusion is that Pando is ancient, but its exact age remains uncertain. A number printed in a headline is not automatically a measurement, and Pando is not simply a triumphant monument, it is also a conservation case study. A clone survives only if new ramets successfully replace old ones. Research led by Paul Rogers and colleagues, published in PLOS 1 in 2018, described Pando as a 43-hectare clone with an estimated 47,000 ramets and examined its condition. The stand showed an age structure tilted toward older stems, while herbivory, especially from mule deer and other browsers, limited recruitment of new trees. In plain language, the old stems are still there, but too few young stems are making it through. A single organism can cover a landscape and still be vulnerable. Size is not the same as health. Pando changes the question. Where does one tree end and another begin? The answer is not always at the bark. If you judge by trunks, you see tens of thousands of trees. If you judge by DNA and shared underground growth, you see one individual expressing itself thousands of times. The forest is not a crowd. It is a body with many visible parts. That idea reaches beyond aspens. Nature does not owe us clean categories. An organism can be modular. It can renew its visible pieces while preserving an invisible continuity. It can look like a population and function in important ways, like one life. So the next time you walk through a forest, remember, you may not be looking at many trees. You may be looking at one organism, repeating itself until the landscape becomes its body. DeWoody J. et al. Pando Lives, Molecular Genetic Evidence of a Giant Aspen Clone in Central Utah. Western North American Naturalist, 2008, https, www.fsusda.gov, NFGL, Documents, Publications, DeWoody et al., Pando, 2008. PDF, Rogers PC et al. Mule deer impede Pando's recovery. Implications for aspen resilience. PLOS 1, 2018. https, PubMed, ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, 332420, USDA Forest Service, Fish Lake National Forest, Pando Clone, https, www.fsusd.gov, RZO4 Fish Lake, Multimedia Videos Fish Lake National Forest Pando Clone,